This is a tricky moment in the garden when you're still harvesting summer crops, but it's also the best window to put your fall plants in. If you're new here, hi, I'm Mari. I'm a chef and gardener in New York, and on this channel I share my garden to table journey where I show you what I grow and how I cook with it. So if that sounds like something you would enjoy, please make sure you're subscribed. I show both sides of the story here. We are going to start today by doing a harvest. We're going to grab all of the tomatoes that I have ready to go right now. August is really the time for tomatoes, and we've been harvesting almost every day for the past week. This time of the year, the garden feels like two seasons at once. The summer crops are still producing, like these tomatoes, but at the same time, I've had to make some hard decisions, pulling out struggling plants so I can get my fall crops in on time. In this tour, I will walk you through what's still producing, what I had to let go, and the new crops I've already tucked in for the next season. Tomatoes really captured this moment in the garden, this season at its peak. Even if today's basket isn't the biggest, harvesting like this day after day adds up to real abundance. The challenge is, tomatoes do not ripen on our schedule. Sometimes they trickle in, other times they float all in at once. And that's when the kitchen becomes just as important as the garden. I think of them in three simple categories: what's going to be eaten fresh, what I will cook right away, and what gets preserved for later. Framing it this way turns a heavy tomato harvest into building blocks, meals for today, projects for the week, and flavors that will last all winter. Now we are going to harvest the remaining tomatoes at this patio area. This is what I've got so far. A lot of the ones in this planter here are ripe. They're looking really nice. I have 3 varieties of tomatoes here. And I have also been getting a lot of questions about this bed and the trellising system. So you get the bed separately, and the trellis system plus the cover is an add-on. These tomatoes are doing really well over here, as you can see. And Vego gave me a discount code for 10% off the bed that's valid until September 6th. This is an elevated garden bed, and I'll leave the info in the description if you want to check it out. This was a spring bed. I had lots of spring crops growing in it, and then I flipped to the summer, but now I'm going to not flip it for the fall because I wanted this to be an early spring bed again. But in other areas of the garden, I have already started transitioning for fall. It is hard at this time to make the call to pull out plants that are still producing, but if they're not as healthy, I would rather try to take them out and give some space for my fall crops than try to leave them there just hanging to see if they produce anything and risk them just getting sicker and taking that space that could have been used for something else. My goodness, so many cherry tomatoes. I have a lot of cherry tomatoes inside already. These ones are so pretty, look. I love these ones. And if you're getting lots of tomatoes like this and have no idea what to do with them, or are feeling a little overwhelmed with the abundance, don't worry. Next week I will be sharing a video where I am going to show how I'm using all of this. So stay tuned for that. And even though in August this month I've been harvesting lots of tomatoes, I'm still kind of waiting for my peppers. They are a bit slower than usual. This year we had a cooler spring, so I've been harvesting some here and there, but I'm not getting them as frequently as I was last year. I like when I harvest lots of peppers and tomatoes together so I can do some fun recipes. Hopefully in September I will have a bigger pepper harvest too, and we can do some other fun things like hot sauces and fuel fermenting projects. The peppers on these green stalks are all doing good. They're doing better than in my raised beds. They're producing more and getting bigger. And I find it interesting because they don't get a lot of sun here. They're getting shaded for half of the day, but apparently they are liking that because they are all doing well. But I have lots in this plant. There's a lot of this. Long ones are called cobasi pepper. They are sweet pepper. Oof, and it fell in my hand, so we are harvesting this today too. Some of these other green stalks are already in transition. This one over here something interesting is happening. I just let all the runners from these strawberries to go here, and they have been rooting themselves in the other pockets, and I'm gonna have lots of free plants next year. I started this from seed, and they have these beautiful pink double flowers. I haven't been harvesting them as much because I've been so busy with the tomatoes, but they do taste good. I thought they would be too seedy because the seeds are big, but I just had one the other day and they're very tasty, so I have to be better about it. Some of them are drying out. But what I can do if something like this happens, since I started this from seed, I could wait for this to dry even more, and I could save seeds from it to plant it next year again, and I think I'm going to do that. This will be the perfect time for me to plant fall crops on these green stalks too, and I've been thinking about it, especially because we're having so much shade. You see the peppers here on the top. This one is doing really good. It's doing great, but it's kind of shading things in the bottom. And we also had a groundhog problem earlier this year. If you have been watching, you've seen a battle with them, but they just keep eating everything in the bottom of these green stalks. The herbs seem to be doing great. They never touch them, so I'm going to be planting more of them in the bottom next year. I have to harvest this. This is a za'atar that is going all the way down to the ground. Just gonna turn this around, get my clippers, and add that to a harvest basket too. And this one, it's a variety of oregano, and I'm going to mostly use it for drying. So I want to dry this to use through the winter. I have a lot more herbs in this green stalk too, and this one is just glorious. This is my oldest green stalk. I got this in 2021, I think, and it has the same soil. I have just been amending it through the years, and it has the best growth of my green stalks. It still got a little bit of a groundhog attack, so I had to replant some things in it. So those are newly planted basil seedlings, but overall it's doing pretty good, especially this top part here where the groundhogs tend to leave it alone. So I have this beautiful chard that's regrowing here, some more chard here. Let me turn this. The nasturtiums are finally picking up. I think it's because the weather cooled down, so they started to finally grow a little healthier. I have lots of lemon balm. I just did a big harvest on this and it grew all back. So we're going to be harvesting a lot more of this for tea. Not today, because today I'm going to harvest more things for cooking. This sage needs to be harvested too. Poor thing, it's been kind of struggling when I'm turning this planter. So since I'm drying the za'atar, I should harvest this to dry too. And there's another one on that pocket that I'm going to leave and harvest a little later because this is looking a little healthier. But this one, I could cut it down and see if it would grow a little bit more. My basket's already full here. I'm gonna have to grab another one. I want to show you guys how everything is doing on this side too. Oh my gosh, my trellis is falling down. It's getting so heavy that's been leaning to this side. Just got another basket. Here we have two baskets now, one with the herbs, another one with the veggies, and we're gonna keep harvesting. Here in this trellis, what's different from last time is that I took down the cucumber that was here. That's making more space for the beans to grow, which is great because these long beans are doing really good and I've been really enjoying eating them. I harvested some yesterday, so I don't have anything to harvest right now, but I definitely want to take some of this kale over here. This kale, it's been attacked by cabbage moths. They really kind of got to it a little harder this week. I think the plant is getting a little weaker in here. I don't know. I'm hoping that after taking the cucumber that I was growing here and shading it, it will make a little stronger. But I'm going to clear these leaves out. We're still going to eat this. This is totally fine. It's part of the garden to share some of our harvest with the bugs. But I have also already planted some kale seedlings in place of the cucumber, thinking ahead for the fall. So I like to cover them with something so they don't get chewed up by the cabbage moths either. And I'll try to do that within the next day or so. For now, I'm just going to harvest these leaves and check for the caterpillars as well. If I see any of them, I will squish them, but so far it's looking good. And kale is something that I have had growing in the whole summer for me too. I started as a spring crop because it likes the cold weather, but sometimes, especially when I grow them in the green stalks, they stay producing all the way through summer and go through fall, the same plant. This guy's struggling. I'm gonna do a really hard harvest to see if it regenerates a bit. I'm gonna take most of the leaves and kind of just leave the center, how much we've got already, and see what's gonna happen here. That way it will give me a little bit more space to put some netting or something down here for these newly planted seedlings too, while these cabbage moths are still around. I think that's enough. I don't want to take too much. But now we have a tiny little kale palm tree. There's always what I kind of like to joke about them when I do a hard harvest like this. Look at this, and this is how much kale we got to eat just this week. The abundance of the garden in August is just absolutely amazing. We've got all of our beautiful tomatoes here too. And this bed is mostly ready for the fall. This squash here, gorgeous honeydew squash. It's been my favorite squash this season. It's growing everywhere. This is one plant that I started over here, and it has sprouted over that side, produced some squashes. I have one that's already almost ripening. And then I put the second trellis here to see if it would grow up, and it's climbing, which is pretty cool. I have some more squash hanging on the side and hasn't gotten powdered mildew yet, which is great. So I plan to let this be here as long as it stays alive. On this side, I had a summer squash that also was not doing well. We got vine borers, and I replanted this space with new seedlings. I have another squash that I'm trying to gamble here and see if I'll be able to get some fruit right before our frost, because the squash can produce quickly, sometimes 50 to 60 days. So we'll see what's going to happen here. And then I saw some radishes and another kale right there. But now, after taking that squash plant that was huge here, if you watched the last garden tour, you saw a lot more space cleared out for these other plants to grow better too. And I have some more eggplant coming up on that plant over there, some more tomatoes, lots of tomatoes still. And hopefully these peppers will start doing a little better too, with a bit more space. And here I started planting some fall crops too. I have some kale in here and some spinach, some broccoli there, some pak choi, and I'm curious to see how they will do. I also just sowed some carrots on this green stalk, which I can see here I need to water, because this here is not a good sign when the soil is dry. I was short one seed house, and you can see here that dried out a lot faster than this one, for example, that had the seed house on. I think keeps the moisture much better. So after finish filming this, I'm gonna come here with my mister and water these pockets. I don't have to remove the seed houses to water this. I can just stuck my hose right here in this space. See, there's a big space here in the mister setting, and they'll just mist water inside there and water the whole pocket. So that's pretty easy. This other green stalk here, it's looking great with the sunflowers. Look at that. Oh my goodness, those teddy bear sunflowers are so pretty. I love them. I want to plant a lot more of them next year, and the bees love them too. But on the bottom here, things are starting to not look so great. I did harvest corn from it, which is cool, and I was very excited about. I think I have a couple more. Let me see. That is not ready. Oh, there's a bee hanging on the sunflower over there, you see? They love it. I see one over here that the tassels are not so dark, and this one's very small. I got some bigger ones. There's another one, tiny one there. Definitely the ones on the top got better light and grew a little bit more. I have to be better, have rotating and placing this planter in a better spot next year if I want to do the same thing. But check this out, this squash over here, it's doing amazing. Look how big this plant is. Someone asked me on the last video in the comments if you can grow a squash in a green stock, and here it is. I am growing some summer squash here. This is called lemon drop, I think. And one is ready to harvest, so I'm gonna grab this one today. Look at that. There was another one, this guy, or was this, that I saw earlier that was big and then it started shriveling, but I'm going to take that anyway. And then there's two more on the way. I'll make sure that I will try to hand pollinate this, and I'll keep an eye on the underside of the leaves for vine borers as well. You can notice vine borer damage. Actually, I'll show you guys. I have another plant that got attacked. When you're looking at the stem, this squash here got completely taken over by sweet potatoes, but here there was a squash vine and it got vine borers. The vine stopped growing and the vine is actually hollow. I can feel it now. But sometimes you would see some things that look like sawdust or bigger holes on it. Maybe the guy that was here already hatched. But the reason why I left this here and just removed the dead leaves, it's because we have a squash. It's a winter squash, and I wanted to let it ripen before I remove this plant. There's still some leaves from it growing over there, and the plant has rooted in the ground, so hopefully it's still sending some nutrients and helping this guy here mature. But this bed is mostly sweet potatoes right now. It's looking really good. I wonder if I'm going to have a good sweet potato harvest for the fall. Those are all Japanese purple sweet potatoes that I grew from my store-bought sweet potato at home from slips, and then I broke down the slips and planted them here super late, and they're still doing well, which is really, really nice to see. We have another beautiful sunflower here too. Oh my goodness, I love these teddy bear ones. They're so pretty. So coming back to the green stock here until this time of transitions, I am going to probably take down some of the things that are not growing well in these two and fill up these pockets. You see how much this has settled since we have planted this together in June. This one here, I just put it up a couple days ago. I tried my best to fill all the way up to the top. There's a little bit of space, but see over here, I did a better job all the way up to the top. And I pressed it down a little better this time, so hopefully it won't settle so much like it happened to this one here. I think it's because I was in a rush and I didn't really press the soil down much, but we will fill this up. I'm going to revamp this green stock for the fall, and I'm going to try to grow some fall veggies in there too while I still have a chance. Back here, let me turn this green stock so I can walk. I have these gorgeous butternut squashes that are also ripening. They probably are going to be ready to be picked next month. They are already pretty hard. The skin is pretty hard. If I put my nail on, it doesn't give in anymore. I'm just waiting for the stem to brown before I harvest. I actually never harvested butternut squash before. This is my first time successfully growing them. So I'm excited to see how a homegrown one tastes like. And I planted another one on this side too that has two baby ones. They're maturing also. This one is very small. And that one, but check this out. After this plant put these two in, look at this one. It's the same plant that grew here. Oh my goodness, it's enormous. It's so big. I hope you guys can have a sense of it in the video. And there's another really big one down there. It's hard to see, but that will be very exciting to harvest. Maybe I'll try to show you guys from the other side. But look at that. It's like the fattest butternut squash I've ever seen. Up here we have this beautiful dahlia blooming. I named it wrong last video. I said it was Linda's baby, I think, but I think this is a seedling from my last year garden, from some seeds I saved from, or from the floret seeds that I got it last year. So I'm letting it go to seed again, and we're going to collect some more. I love that little pink. This area, It's been a bit of a experiment. I have lots of seedlings those are zinnias, some seeds that are through here a little later, maybe midsummer. One of them is about to bloom, and I have another one blooming. I had a hard time growing flowers this year because of the groundhogs, so they're all a little bit late. I also planted a couple artichokes in here that never really grew. Maybe they got shaded or they're not doing good. Let's see what is going to happen to them. I'm not pulling them out. And here I have some okra. I have a flower. I love the okra flowers. They look like hibiscus. So pretty. Here we have some scarlet runner beans that are growing up this bamboo pole. Going all the way up there. And it's full of flowers. The hummingbirds have been loving this one. I always see some of them coming in the morning. So they're great for attracting hummingbirds. And also they make delicious bean pods that we're going to harvest together later in the fall too. Okay, and there's a couple more things that I want to grab here. Let me take these baskets. Oh my gosh, look who's visiting us. Oh, right where I said he's liked it. There you go, I got some hummingbird action. He just left. Here are the bean pods that the scarlet runner beans make. You can harvest them young like this or let them grow really big and dry. That's what I did last year and I loved it. I'm going to harvest some oregano too for drying. There is a lot growing here in this green stalk and I want to give it a little trim. Gotta be a little careful because I saw a couple spiders here in the morning. So let's just check real quick since I don't have my gloves on. Part of gardening. And I'm just going to do a little haircut. Oh my God, I love the smell of fresh oregano. And we're going to dry this for the winter too. I absolutely love having garden herbs for the winter. Drying them and making your own spices, it's absolutely the best. It tastes so much better than anything you can buy in little jars, store-bought, especially with the dried herbs like oregano. That's a lot of time back there too. This is incredible because these guys have been growing the shade. Basically, I am not rotating this green stalk. It's not on a spinner. It's stationary here. And they're just loving it. Oh my goodness. This is just one plant and I have 2 more there. Look at that. I've got 2 big full baskets to take it in today. And I could harvest more if I wanted to, but we're going to stop here because we ran out of harvesting space. Maybe just grab a pepper from this green stalk real quick because I've been looking at this one, looking big for a while. Just put it in here so I can make some salsa. If you like this video or you want to see everything that I'm doing with this harvest, plus how our garden's going to keep growing through the seasons, don't forget to subscribe. I'm going to link the July garden tour here. I forgot to mention here earlier, but this is a first year garden, so I'm harvesting all of this from this garden's first season. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope you're having a wonderful day and I'll see you next time.